Hey, got another leg by leg. I'm Justin from the New Zealand Middle Distance Champs. Today I'm talking with Joe Lynch. He won the men's elite today. So this is a talk aimed for advanced orienteers, and I'm interested to see how Joe Lynch picked Matt Ogden for the top spot on the podium. So let's get into it. Thanks, Joe, for coming on leg by leg. Congratulations on the win today. Your
Thank you.
first elite men's victory in your first year as an elite, as a senior elite. So that's pretty cool, and obviously a big future ahead. Have you run on these maps before?
I believe I may have run on this one as a training, but a long time ago, and I can't quite remember if I have or not.
Yeah.
I've definitely run on very similar terrain.
Mm-hmm. Was this the kind of stuff you're expecting?
Yes, it mostly was. I did a lot of analysis of the map beforehand and sort of worked out what I thought it would all be like, and that all seemed to match today.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's get into it. Let's see if I can get everyone to mass start, and we'll take you through. So the GPS, I had a quick look through. It's mostly good. There are a few parts where the GPS tracking is a little bit off. So hopefully you can tell me when it's going off. And of course, this is everyone synchronized. So were you running with anyone in the forest at all?
I was with Aaron Prince later on in the course, but
Okay.
and with Stuart Engelback for a league was toe. Yeah. But apart from that, I was mainly on my own.
Yeah. So let's have a look. What was the plan for the first one?
The first one, I suppose my attack point was probably the big hill at the start, just before the control.
Yeah.
And my plan was to stay on top of the hill on the left side, which is the south side as we're looking at it.
So you've got that big hill here, and you just want to stay to the left.
Yeah. Sort of my handrail, I guess, was the big slope on the left.
Yeah.
And then I knew I'd be going down into the re-entrant because we've been over the peak of the hill. Yeah, it was a relatively easy first control for us.
Just getting this. Oh, yeah, looks like everyone found it pretty good. And then compass across to 2. Looks like it. There's not much else to do.
Compass and tick off that little hill just before the control circle. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Did you see these knolls coming up? Did you see, was it a bit of a terrace up to that, up this contour?
Yeah. And so that meant they were above in our vision rather than down below, so they were nice and easy to spot.
Yeah, that's good. What was the plan for 3?
The rough plan was a compass out to the track and then take the track as far as I wanted to go. I was keeping an eye on the forest around 3 and seeing how difficult it was.
Right. And so that's quite cool. You haven't committed to this early. You're not entirely sure what's going on. So you're leaving it open. Maybe you can use this clearing and like jump through if it's looking good.
Yeah. And then also on the way into 3, I stayed on the track that goes north at the intersection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed on that track and I was deciding how far along do I want to stay on the track? Do I want to cut across the forest at any point? And in the end, I decided to stay quite late on the track.
It looks like, did you go up that right? The track?
No, I didn't.
No? Okay. So it looks
GPS
like everyone's GPSs are all kind of doing a similar thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your GPS is doing a lot more wiggling than what's shown. Yeah. Cool. Looks like everyone's pretty closely placed at that stage. Any thoughts for 4?
It was quite a short leg, and there was the row of hills from 3 to 4 leading into it. And I just had to find that big hill that was across the track. Yeah, those are all.
And then this is a hill as well.
Row of hills. Yeah. And then just sort of onto the top of that big hill in the center, and yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually quite safe, because if you're ever drifting down either side, then you know you're not going right, so you can hit that pretty hard. And let's see, it looks like everyone got those ones. Okay, and 4. So 4 or 5. That's fairly concerning, actually. 4 or 5. 5 stands out as a leg for me. That could go wrong. The low vis is not helping. How did you approach it?
I had a look at what the light green forest was like around 4, and it was pretty terrible. Really low branches on all the trees.
So this is
quite hard to
this whole
through.
area here.
Yeah, all that. And before the race, I knew that was what that would be like. So I decided to take conservative route out to the track, as you can see, which is pretty close and parallel to the route.
Yeah.
And then
what are you using
on my way off the track, I was going off the hill that's just south of the corner where Matt Ogden's GPS is now. I use that. So my GPS is probably more like Matt's coming off the track.
Yeah. Using that corner, you've got a nice ridge. Did you see this depression, obviously?
Yes, I did. So I was sort of counting one ridge and then the second one.
And what about getting into the control circle? How do you get this last little bit accurately?
I did make a mistake on this, so I didn't do that well. I lost 20 something seconds probably. Yeah, it's a bit hard to tell. It always is to tell where that spur ends, because you don't really know where you are along it and where the actual top is. It's just one thick contour.
This guy here?
Yeah, you don't really know where the actual top of that hill is, so it's hard to know where you are along it.
Right, you could have easily been drifted off the end of the hill here.
Yeah,
or right up
which
in the
is
middle
what I
of it.
did.
Okay.
Yeah, so I drifted too far off and then did a bit of a loop.
Yeah, cool. And then longer one? Any thoughts? Straight?
Yeah, reasonably straight. Obviously not going into that dark green area. Yeah, kind of compassing to get there and picking off that open bit, just where I went through now.
You mean the big flat white bit?
No, sorry,
or do you mean
before that, just above the dark green?
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's some clearance there.
Yeah.
What are you using coming into this? Because there's a lot of risk here in this part. It's quite vague. There's not really anything distinctive. I can imagine people trying to do it straight, but easily drifting.
Yeah, I was probably using stepping stones. So in the white block just before, beside the green, I was reading off those 3 knolls.
These guys?
Yeah, those 3 there.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So I knew exactly where I was. And then the hill that I'm at now, I was reading those as well. And also the knoll just to the left of that.
Right, so you saw all of those things you're going through. So that's stopping you from drifting.
Picking up all the features to make sure that I knew where I was on my compass. Like I knew that my compass was right, I guess.
Yeah. And what about at the end here? You've got this contour goes down and then it's down again.
Yeah, I was using this as, I guess you could say I was aiming off. I knew that if I went down the slope, I could then go west until I hit the pond.
Yeah.
So if I was always a little bit left, I never. Yeah.
Nice. 7. How we go? 7. What do you do?
7 was definitely just compass out of the control, out of number 6, until I hit the track, and then determine where I was on the track. And from there, my attack point was the big sort of hill system. There's 2 knolls, a contour up just before it.
Yeah.
I knew I would be able to see them, and the hill that's on.
Okay, yeah, we're back on again. We lost the annotations, but Much we had those hills as your attack point, and you had the route through, and this hill really stands out, quite a high feature compared to everything else around it.
I again took a solid compass out of 7. I knew I would definitely hit the track. So I picked that up, but I wasn't necessarily reading any features before I hit the track because to me they weren't important. And then again, through 7 to 8, I just tried to hold my compass steady and go till I hit that system of knolls where the control is, and wasn't really taking too much care of anything I was crossing before that. There was lots of fallen down trees through this area.
Yeah, so this whole thing was basically ignored.
Yeah, I was just trying to battle through trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once I hit that, yeah, I just was reading the few knolls that there were and getting the control.
Similar for this one? No?
Yes, 9 was similar. I did read, we crossed over sort of a line of knolls halfway through the league and a bit of open area.
Yeah.
So I read that out. But then once again, there's no features in between there and the control really. So I was just going to that sort of same system of contour detail.
So you would have seen that hill go up, and then how did you know that you weren't too far over here and had to go this way? There's a bit of a risk there.
There is a risk. I don't think I had, to be honest, too much of a plan for that at this control. I was just relying on a strong compass, probably.
Yep. 10?
10, I knew I wanted to get out of this green as fast as possible, but I didn't want to go out to the white on the east, so I ended up trying just to go south as much as I could, and ended up being quite diagonal on the line, as you can see, so that was nice.
Yep. Cool, and you caught Max up some time through these last controls.
Yeah, I think I really got a bit of time in this, in that section of green.
So it's getting pretty tricky here. These leagues scare me.
Yeah, they do. They scare me as well. 10 to 11.
Yeah.
This was one area where 11 is again really low branches all around and lots of small hills. And beforehand, I knew that was a place where I could probably not navigate very well. I'm not very good on all that detail. So I'd made a conscious decision that my race plan was going to be high risk, but just go for it with a compass and fix it when I got there, which probably is not ideal. But for me, I knew I couldn't really, even if I went slower, I was not confident in my ability to read the detail anyway.
Okay. So if you're going to make a mistake, make it quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And I did lose time in this league. And again, you'll see later I lost time, but it wasn't as much as I could have really, because I could just go full gas before that.
Yeah. So did you see this hill? That's really the last hugely obvious contour feature. No, I wasn't even looking at that.
No.
The clearings?
Going to open. Yeah, but I didn't exactly know where I was in the clearing when I left. As you can see, I was probably too far north, which was a mistake.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did you relocate off the shape of that depression?
I sort of knew I was in the middle of quite a lot of detail, and I knew I was quite confident I wasn't too far north. So I wasn't reading the exact detail, but I knew I was in a patch of contour detail.
And by the middle, do you mean that you've got an edge there and you've got the edge against the clearings and you're about like halfway between that? So yeah, if you're hanging out over here really close to the clearing, then obviously you need to go in. And if you're hanging out by this really dense stuff on the edge, then you need to go further away from that. So yeah, you've really funneled yourself into some area in here where you could be, and you just have to sweep through it.
Yeah.
And this is pretty tricky once again. Matt's going pretty straight, and you're followed.
Yeah, I
Nice.
tried to read the detail a bit more in that one. You can see I deviate from the line about a third of the way through. There was another control there that
Okay.
I
Pretty
checked
interesting.
because I was
Yeah.
I'd had not the greatest idea of distance in that area.
Okay.
And I thought I'm gonna kill myself if I don't check this control, and it was actually mine.
Yeah.
So I did that. It's probably a bit of a rookie thing to do.
Yeah.
But I was staying along that side of all those hills, and just tracking along there,
So you've
basically.
got all this area of lumpy, bumpy stuff,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you've
that would be my
considered
favorite
that
hill.
this is the flat area on this side, and you're saying between the two.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you see anything coming up to the control? Like, did you notice that
No,
flat bit?
not really.
No.
It was quite a surprise to me. I was happy when I found it.
Yeah. So did you read anything leaving 12 before the track? Did you read a single thing?
No,
No, just
no,
compass.
just
Yep.
gun it to the track.
Yep.
And these were leagues where I was confident I could possibly make up time or do better than the more technical ones. So yeah, I really played my strengths there and just gunned it to the road, go along the road till like for how long I wanted to go, and then smash it to control as well.
Yep.
Being quite physical, I guess.
Yep. And these high hills by the control, because you saw them from some way away.
Yeah, they were very obvious.
Pretty distinctive, right?
And I could see them off to my right, so I was sort of using them as a handrail that I wasn't actually on, but it was beside me, parallel to me.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And then I got funneled into the control, really funneled in to the top of that hill system. And it just had to go over.
It does seem to pull you through quite nicely. You've got this bit coming up there, and then that, so you get pulled in, and then this is a little saddle as well that you just get pulled through. But Matt's still got a lead on you at this stage. What's your plan for 14? That's another leg that you could lose a lot of time on if you really got it wrong.
Yes, it was, and I did lose 30 or 40 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Did you know where you were when you crossed the road?
No, I tried to. I wasn't very confident, but I didn't stop and actually locate myself.
Yeah. Yeah, have a go. I definitely notice that sometimes when I hit the road, I'm like, oh, let's try to get it, and sometimes you don't, and suddenly your confidence is starting to drop. But if you keep winging it, then there's a chance you smash it and a chance you screw up.
Yeah.
So did you notice this low point here? Is that what saved you?
I didn't. I may have noticed it, but I didn't fit that to the map.
Okay.
I really did not know where I was. I was quite confident again that I was north. I sort of knew, I guess this whole time for all these controls, I kind of knew what side of the control I was probably on.
Mm-hmm.
So there was only one direction of searching.
Yeah. Cool. So again, you've got could you see the edge of the green?
Yeah. So sorry, actually, that is pretty obvious. I knew kind of where I was north and south, like in that line.
So the control's only this far from the green, so you've basically just got to follow down that distance from the edge of the green. Was that on your mind?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Nice, but Matt's still got a lead. So when does that change?
I think it's right here.
Right. Okay. Cool. What are you using on 15?
I was. I don't feel like I was right on the boundary of the light green and the white. I may have been, but I felt like I was mainly the light green the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to connect on to the sort of long line of clearings and dark green patches. Yeah. Them. And I found that dark green patch just south of 5 very distinctive.
Oh yeah. And then just have to whip around it.
Just follow along there.
Hill over there, and just if you get your direction right from the end.
Yeah.
From the end of that, good compass, nice hill.
Yeah.
So what was Matt up to? Did you talk to him?
I did, and it seems like his tactic was to sort of stay in the white and know where he was in the white, because that's a lot easier than knowing where you are in the light green.
Yeah.
And then he could go in a short distance through the green from his location in the white. But he just confused himself in that white area.
Yeah, it looks like he lost contact. Somewhere in here, he started to do some wiggles.
Yeah, so he wasn't necessarily looking for the control there. He was just looking for his entry point and wanted to be very sure before he went in.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting stuff. Short one.
Yeah, compass and run to the edge of the white. That was quite distinctive for me.
Yeah. That's pretty good. That's pretty amazing that you can ignore so much of the map, but you're using the edge of that green as a catching feature, and strong on the bearing. It can make life very simple. Narrow lead. What are you using here?
This, I used after you got to the track, there was that first big hill system that's opposite you on the east side of the track.
Yeah, so that's really obvious here. That's a big simplification. Big hill. You don't have to know anything else inside this. Then you've got a big flat bit.
Just big hill. And then, yes, compass across a big flat bit till I hit another hill or sort of long hill spur thing.
Yep.
And then I was going to pop over that and check. I was pretty sure I'd be able to see that little hill the control's on from that spur. And then, right to it.
That's right. If you're too far left, you'd see the reentrant. If you're too far right, well, you'd probably still see this hill from here.
Yeah, so yeah.
Good. Nice. What are you using on this one?
This one, I was using the big hill that's just to the left of 18 as my main attack point. And then there's a spur that kind of comes diagonally southeast of that, which you
just this whole high point here.
Yeah. So I was counting the spurs I was crossing till I got onto that one.
So
there was sort of one spur before it.
Yeah.
And then I sort of sidled alongside that big hill.
Yeah, it's pretty good simplification. You'd be silly to not make use of this really high point over here, and you can probably see it from all the way back here. So then you've just got to stay on the right direction, referencing from this big hill.
That's and really the open area just north.
Oh yeah.
That clearing, that was good to see as well, because that was low down, so you could see it from above.
Oh yeah, nice. Another option could have been just use this big low point. Same deal, just something that's huge and distinct and you can easily reference from. Okay, any handrails on this one?
This one, more of the same, more or less, with my I would call it compass and hope tactic.
Yeah.
But I knew this one was very close to the beach. I was confident that I would be able to find the edge of the vegetation to the beach and be able to relocate from there. I was quite confident that I'd be able to do that once I got to the circle. I did. There's a hill I cross on the intersection of the white to the light green. I was reading that, so I think I picked that out, but I wasn't too confident while I was running.
Variance, this guy? Right there.
Yes, and sorry, and so the clearings, I knew I'd hit them at some point, and again, I wasn't gonna force myself to change because of where I was in the clearings. I was trying to sort of funnel myself in with those because there's the first big one that's more south,
Yeah.
and then the smaller one where our dots are now, and then another smaller one.
Yeah.
So yes, I was hoping to be able to follow them, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
wasn't
can
gonna
really get
necessarily
yourself
change my route.
quite put into the control. And if you want to physically go through them, that's fine, but you can just visually look at them as you stay straight through the trees.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't gonna change my route to go through them, even if I could see them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And just compass again for the edge, I guess. Like you're going to get caught by that clearing.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
exactly.
And what was the winning margin that you held on to?
I believe it was 35 seconds.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always impressive to get Matt Ogden by 35 seconds. Nice. Well, thanks for taking me through your course. A really,
Thank
really
you.
good example of really aggressive orienteering and strong compass work. So good luck for tomorrow.
Yeah. Cheers.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Gene.
So that was pretty full on, and I really have to premise this by saying this is maybe not only for advanced orienteers, but for very advanced orienteers. So Joe's strategy was highly aggressive, and as a coach, I would tell there's very few people I would tell to take such a approach, such a technique. And what he's done is simplify to such a high degree that he can spend less time reading the map, and therefore less time slowing down and more time just fanging it through the forest. And that obviously comes with high risk, but you can see that the risk is actually quite low if you have really good direction and good use of compass bearing to really fine tune that direction. Is how Joe was doing it. He's not reading all the details on the map, and especially not reading details on the map when there's a catching feature. So there's some like track, he's just going full speed to the track. He'll hit the track and work it out. Or maybe there's like a row of clearings, full speed to the clearings, work it out. A row of hills, full speed. You don't need to know anything up until that point. So really taking advantage of those areas, and also he's not totally losing the plot. If he doesn't really have a perfect idea of where he is, he's not then going left, going right, like searching, grid searching, going in a spiral. Like he's not just losing the plot. He's like, oh, okay, so I'm probably this way. I'm going to go precisely in this direction. And he's still using the landscape around him to determine exactly where he should move, even though he doesn't know exactly where he is. Whereas I think a lot of people run into a lot of trouble where they're not really sure where they are, so they just kind of hope and move in a random direction. And that's not at all what Joe is doing. But it can be hard to see that distinction because he can't pinpoint where he is. And most of the time, I think for the level of people that I'm working with and for myself, I need to be, I have a tighter control on where I am in the terrain. I need to be able to pinpoint where I am much more than what Joe's doing, especially in an area where the visibility is a little bit lower. So I thought that was really interesting to see someone take such an aggressive approach to orienteering and obviously do really well with it. So I hope you enjoyed something a bit different.